Well, trusting that you can hear me properly, why, let me just sketch out the pattern. Each candidate will give a 3-minute introductory statement, and the order was chosen by lot earlier this evening. And Jeff Maiden will speak first and Archie Stanley second. After that, we will have 2 rounds of questions from the media representatives. And those also were chosen by lot, or are being chosen by lot. I've got the first 2. So, and the first question will be answered by the first maker of the introductory statement, and after that, we will alternate. And here's something that Ed Baum put in a time or 2 ago that makes very good sense. Why? The first person answering the question has 1.5 minutes. The next person has 2 minutes maximum, and then 30 seconds back to the first speaker so that each one has a chance to say something after the other has spoken. So that seemed like an appropriate touch that we did about a year ago, thanks to Ed Baum's thoughtfulness. And then after 2 rounds of questions from the panel, then we will have the questions from the audience. And as Ed Baum said, our distinguished panel of Debbie and Jerry is going to try to make sure that we haven't answered the question 3 times before it's handed to me, because I will probably just start reading it and so on, and make sure it's something that is a question and it's answerable by both candidates. And then at the end, we will have 2-minute closing statement by each candidate, and that order was also chosen by lot, and it will be Archie Stanley giving the first closing statement and Jeff Maiden. Not that you all need to know that at this point. And so, with that warm-up, why don't we start in, and Jeff Maiden, it's yours for a 3-minute introductory statement.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ellsworth. My name is Jeff Maiden, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event tonight. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I was born in Nelsonville. I graduated from Nelsonville York High School. I graduated from OU with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering in 1982. I'm a professional engineer, a professional surveyor, and a local businessman. I live in Dover Township, the Plains, with my family. I grew up working in a family construction business since I was a kid, really. After graduating, I went to work at Maiden & Jenkins Construction Company as an engineer in training and as a project manager for major construction projects. By 1993, I was vice president of the company and assisted in the management of 75 to 80 employees with revenue more than $6 million per year. That was 20 years ago, but that operation was twice as large as the Athens County Engineer's current budget, again 20 years ago, with 3 times as many employees to manage. In May '93, I started the RJM Engineering Company in Athens. I've designed hundreds of infrastructure projects throughout southeastern Ohio over the past 19 years with a primary focus on roads and bridges. RJM currently employs 5 people in Athens County. I'm running for Athens County Engineer because the county roads and bridges are in really bad condition, and I believe I can make a difference. The county infrastructure has steadily deteriorated for the past 20 years to the point that we now have 127 deficient bridges with reduced load limits, by far the most of any of the 10 counties in ODOT District 10. This information came from ODOT District 10. I've got a list of all the bridges right here. They'll be posted on my website tonight if anybody wants to see the data, with links to the ODOT website so you could go there and review it yourself. The county roads are in even worse shape. Many asphalt roads haven't been paved in more than 20 years. Other asphalt roads have been covered with gravel in an attempt to turn them back to gravel. I'll show the statistics that compare Athens County roads to our neighboring counties that have smaller budgets but substantially better roads and bridges. Good cash flow from your tax dollars has covered up a lot of bad management. In the process of studying the revenues and the expenditures, I found a complete lack of management by my opponent in several areas, and I'll share those with you tonight. I'll show just a few examples of how we can better utilize taxpayer money to improve and rebuild our roads and bridges. If elected, my priorities include being more responsive to citizen concerns and resolving them in a timely manner. We'll improve communication with property owners along the county road system and give them advance notice before we do work that's going to impact their property. I'll be a full-time engineer who will work with township and village governments. I'll develop a plan and a schedule for improving and paving the roads. We'll design and build more projects in-house with county employees, increasing efficiency, and better utilizing your taxpayer dollars.
Thank you. And the next statement will be by Archie Stanley. Mr. Stanley?
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Archie Stanley, and I've been your county engineer for the past 32 years. I'm seeking re-election based upon my record of public service. My time in office has resulted in rebuilding our county road and bridge system, facilities, and equipment, and 32 years of absolute fiscal responsibility. I have a solid record to stand on based on facts that I'm proud of. My opponent offers the residents of this county change. As we learned from our Wall Street Governor Kasich in Senate Bill 5, change is not always good. The race for engineers seemingly comes down to fact versus fiction. My opponent spends a lot of time talking about fictions that he hopes to distract voters with. We've all heard them. Things like, I live outside the county. That's a lie. That I'm a part-time engineer. Another lie. That I pay our staff too much. I am certain we'll get a chance to talk about all these things tonight, but make no mistake, they're all fiction. What I want to do tonight is to start talking about the facts of this election. My opponent has spent this campaign saying what a great businessman he is and how that experience will benefit the residents of this county. The fact is, a simple review of public records shows that he does not have the impressive business experience that he touts. In 2003, while the economy was thriving, Jeff Maiden, while running RJM Engineering, declared Chapter 7 business bankruptcy. And from 1999 to 2004, 4 different creditors sued Jeff for non-payment in Athens County alone. Now he asks the voters to entrust him with their $4.5 million budget. There's no Chapter 7 bankruptcies for local governments where people just forgive your debts. In 32 years, I've never done that, and my record of 32 years of never operating outside of our budget, despite natural disasters, tornadoes, bad winters, and spring flash floods, speaks for itself. This is a very important fact that will determine this election and the future of the County Engineers Department. I think it's time we start talking about the facts and quit talking about fiction that my opponent has created to distract voters from his own public record of irresponsibility. The voters will have to decide 32 years of financial stability and fiscal responsibility, or Chapter 7 business bankruptcy and civil court cases. I look forward to your questions, and I thank you for the opportunity to bring light to the facts of this election. Thank you.
Thank you both. Now let's turn to questions from the news media, and the first one will be from Casey Elliott in the Athens Messenger.
You both have sort of addressed this, but I wanted to hear both of your opinions on the condition of the county roads today.
Do I go first, or who goes first?
Who goes first?
I couldn't hear what you said. I don't know whether the candidates could or not, and people over here could not.
I wanted to know about the condition of the county roads today, both of your opinions.
We just need to know who goes first.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my error, and it's Jeff Maiden again, pardon me. And I should have tossed that to you. I apologize. -1 for me.
Here's another document that we prepared. The road inventories are available from ODOT District 10 also. We're going to have those on our website as well with links to this if anyone wants to fact check the real facts of this election. Athens County has 132 miles of gravel road according to that inventory. 369 miles total, 36% of all the roads in Athens County. If you look at Vinton County, they're completely paved. Hocking County has 1.7 miles of gravel road. Meigs County has 3 miles of gravel road. These counties all have smaller budgets than Athens County. So I would I've driven the roads. I've driven the roads, and I've especially down in the Lottridge area. I was down there last week and spent a day driving down there. The roads you've got patches on top of patches that go back 20, 25 years. The outer areas of the county are really in bad shape, and so I think that that's my opinion.
Okay, and Archie, you have a 2-minute response, and then Jeff may have 30 seconds if he wishes at the end.
Those records differ with my records. As of this past year, we have 50 miles, represented by the blue figure, left of stone roads. It would have been less than that, but we had the worst possible year that we could have had, full of moisture, all during 2011. It started snowing in the last part of 2010. It rained through the spring, the summer, the fall, and it hasn't stopped yet. And so I will tell you that we went backwards a little bit on we increased stone roads from about 30 miles to 50 miles. I will also tell you that the other counties have done something a little different than what we've done. I determined several years ago that the most important part of a county road system is its bridges. There are other counties and other states all across this nation that have failing bridges, and we don't. I'll get there. We put most of our money in the early years into fixing our bridges. And these are the bridges that are okay as is that we haven't replaced. The green is the bridges that we have replaced in the last 32 years, 222. We have 14 bridges to go in the next 4 years. We should be able to do that because we're averaging 7 new bridges a year. So other counties have put more money into their pavements. I have put more money into bridges. Our bridges are safe. Our county roads are patched in places. But that's the way I see the priority system. Bridges first. Thank you.
Jeff, if you wish, you have up to 30
Okay.
seconds.
This is about facts, not what you really wanted to say. And I'm going to back up the facts because we're going to post this on our website. I've talked to ODOT District 10. We've gone through this list of bridges. Fact is that we have 96 bridges that are 1-lane bridges for 2-lane traffic. Those are functionally obsolete. We got 127 bridges with load limit reductions. I'm posting them on my website tonight. You can go there. You can look at each bridge by structural number and location. That's 50 more than any other county. And okay.
Thank you for being so courteous on the cutoff, and I say that to both of you because it sets the pattern, and that's the way the league does it, and our candidates always agree. So thank you both for that. Now, for the next question, Archie, you'll answer this one first, and Ed, do you have the other media reps in order? Maybe just hand me when the time comes, but this next question will be placed by Fred Kite of WOUB.
Yes, gentlemen, let's talk for a moment about the new road maintenance agreement. Will it adequately protect Athens County roads, and is it fair to all parties, is my question.
First thing I would like to say that the 1-lane bridges that Jeff called functionally obsolete are not structurally deficient. In other words, people have to slow down and go through 1 lane at a time, but they're not unsafe. The road agreement we've been working on for several weeks and several months. We're taking a proactive approach to make sure that large companies that are coming in to take advantage of mining, logging, or oil drilling, or whatever, fracking rigs, do not tear up our county roads. Taxpayers' money have built those roads, and we are going to ensure through this road agreement that not only is a bond posted, but that we are going to customize, to answer your question specifically, the agreement based upon the number of trucks that are being used, the type of roads that are being used, and we're going to protect the roads no matter what from these large, long, heavy, wide roads. The township trustees have agreed that they're going to use our agreement very well. Also, on the customizing of the bond will be customized. So we're going to fit it. We're not after the local postal people, delivery people, garbage trucks, things like that. The people that are going to make the money are the people that should fix the roads. If we determine that they need to be strengthened before they're used, that will happen. If they have to be fixed afterwards, that will happen too. A proactive approach to protecting Athens County roads. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff, you have 2 minutes.
Yep. This past Monday, I drove up to Jefferson County and I met with the county engineer there, Jim Brannigan. I met with him for 3 hours and we drove all the roads in Jefferson County, and I had a long discussion with he and his deputy engineer, who is an engineer, about how they've handled the shale drilling that began last June up there. Mr. Brannigan developed the agreement that Mr. Stanley talks about developing and being proactive about. Had a long discussion with him about that. What he's doing is negotiating with the drilling companies in advance and improving the roads in advance. And he told me essentially that road agreement was just the beginning. And what he's done is he has negotiated with a drilling company to build 8 miles of county road that you could drive a tank on, widened it. They spent $3 million on 8 miles of road, or essentially $375,000+ per mile, improving that road before they ever started drilling. What you need is an active engineer here who's going to do that. These county roads I saw trucks, I saw water trucks that were, you couldn't pass on a 10 or 12 foot wide road, even a 16 foot wide road. Those roads are being widened before the shale drillers get here. He does it with an amendment to the agreement that Mr. Stanley mentions. But I also talked to him, and he hadn't heard from Mr. Stanley. I think it was County Commissioner Lenny Eliason who called him and got that agreement and actually brought it here to Athens County. So, what I learned there, what you need is a full-time engineer. Somebody's going to be here to develop those haul roads that has the knowledge on how to enforce those agreements and be able to negotiate with those companies to make these road improvements before the drilling begins. That's the key.
Thank you. Archie, you have 30 seconds if you wish.
I saw the agreement from Jefferson County probably 6 months ago. It was distributed by the County Engineers Association. We decided early on that it was best to have a standardized agreement as much as we could, because enforcement by the Highway Patrol and or the sheriffs will be a lot easier if they have a standardized road agreement. We customized it to the extent that it was right for Athens County, and building the roads up beforehand is one option that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. No, it's 1, 2, 3. So now for the next question, Jeff, you will respond first, 1.5 minutes, and Archie 2, and then 30 seconds. And we turn to Allison Witchy of the Ohio University Post for this question. Allison?
One thing that I have a question about is, in economic times when budget is such a concern, what would you do as much as you can in the county but still be concerned about a tight budget?
Well, I would start off by saving the county $1 million in the next 4 years. And I would do that by having myself, my staff, and all the workers join the county health insurance plan. That's a 90%, 10% plan with $200 deductible, better insurance than I've ever had in my life in the private sector. We could save this county $1,019,000 in the next 4 years. This will also be posted on our website, along with copies of the cost to the county. So that's the first thing I do. Next thing I do financially would be to reorganize the engineer's office so that the deputy engineer doesn't make more than the county engineer. I'll review the overtime sheets so that we can keep track of that. But when you have the payroll clerk making more than the county commissioners, and the office manager making about the same as the county commissioner, those jobs typically pay $30,000 to $34,000. I could show right here by reorganizing the management, going to 2 superintendents, $58,000 a year. You can save up to $120,000 right there just within the office, and you're normalizing those jobs. Thank you.
Archie, 2 minutes.
I would like to speak first of all about the overtime issue. With the spring floodings, we were declared a county disaster area this spring. They sent in FEMA representatives from all over the country. They came to our office and we let them use space. They were coming from Alabama and Texas and everywhere else to help us document the damages so that we could get reimbursed by FEMA. Since they were so far away from home, they wanted to work Fridays and Saturdays. They wanted to work evenings because they needed to get back to their families. So they asked us to work overtime with them, and we accommodated them for that. The overtime that you're talking about amounts to this little blue sliver right here, $30,000 compared to the rest of our budget. And a lot of it was reimbursed by FEMA. The second thing I would like to speak about is that my deputy engineer is overpaid. It's absolutely false. Mike is not overpaid. He has assumed responsibility of 4 jobs, which eliminates the need for 3 additional positions in management. His pay is commensurate with his responsibilities. The 3 other jobs would amount to $50,000 each, or $150,000 plus $25,000 each for health insurance. So a total savings of $225,000 right there, compared to the $30,000 that he got paid on overtime. So it was a one-time event, and it was. I asked Mike to do that. He was willing to do it. He worked every night. He worked with FEMA representatives. I have a quote from the FEMA representatives saying that we were the most cooperative agency he's ever worked with. And we have saved money forever. We've done everything that we know of to continue to save money. And any new ideas that we get, we're even burning our own waste oil now. Thank you.
Okay.
I can reply to that?
Yeah, so let's see, you have 30 seconds if you wish.
Okay. I've spoken to 8 county engineering offices about this FEMA flooding and all the surrounding counties. I've also talked to them about their number 2 in command. Hocking County, $63,000 a year salary, no overtime. Vinton County, $58,000 a year salary, no overtime. Washington County has a professional engineer, registered surveyor, $65,000 a year, no overtime. Nobody had all this overtime that Athens County had.
Okay, thank you both, and we will go to the next question. And Archie, you will address this one first. And we call upon David DeWitt of the Athens News for this question. David?
Thank you, Ellsworth. Every time I go out into the outlying areas of the county, it doesn't seem to matter what subject we're talking about, people are concerned that their needs aren't being addressed. And so I was hoping that you would go over, from your perspective, Archie, what your office does to work with all 14 townships and your relationship with the township trustees, and Jeff, what you would do in office to work with all 14 townships and the township trustees.
Well, thank you. Good question. We work with the township trustees all of the time. In fact, they have just recently agreed to adopt the new road agreement that we've put together. They share in all of our bidding contracts, everything that we can do for them. We have advisors for them. As far as outlying roads, the way we take care of roads is we treat every road the same based upon the amount of traffic that's on the road and the amount of residential or development that's on the road. Some of the roads in the outlying areas that have, and not just the outlying areas, some roads have less traffic and less development than others. And some roads are very, very busy, almost like a state highway. So we have to protect the traveling public. And so we do so by doing the best maintenance we can on whatever type and amount of volume that the road has up on it. Thank you.
One of the things we'll do for the township trustees, besides assist them with heavy equipment, we've got quite a backlog of, or quite a list of heavy equipment and other ways we can help them. But we're going to help them with their engineering. And out on County Road, here's a slip that was recently fixed by the Athens County Engineering Department. You can see this wall at 45 degrees. This is out on Coolville Ridge Road, County Road 75. This was the engineering you're getting today. We're going to provide these township trustees. I talked to one down at Lowtime Township last week. We're going to provide them with some real engineering. We're going to go in there and drill some borings. We're going to design a slip repair. We'll design these walls so they'll stay. But you can zoom in on that. This is out on Coolville Ridge Road. It's a driven pile wall that fell. It slid about 10 feet over the hill. So now you got to go in and tear this out and rebuild it. If you got somebody in there who knows how to design these walls, that's not going to happen. And so that's we'll do everything we can to support the township trustees, and that's all I got.
Archie, you have 30 seconds if you wish.
Our experience with landslips is we fix about a dozen a year, normally. Geotechnical soil information is still not the most exact science in the world. We have an average of 1 out of that dozen or 13 slips that we fix each year that fails, and so we do have to go back and refix it. This past year, because of all the excess moisture, we had almost 60 slips and as many washouts.
Thank you both. Let's see that. Yeah, that was the next question. Jeff, you will address first, and we turn again to Casey Elliott. Casey.
I wanted to know for the next question, if you're elected, Mr. Maiden, or if you're re-elected, Mr. Stanley, what would be your immediate goals? What do you want to do in your 4 years, in your next 4 years?
Jeff is first on this one.
I think that shale drilling, fracking, some call it, is something that's about to hit this county in a big way. What I saw up in Jefferson County was we drove roads that had not been improved, that were not passable by 2 cars on a typical township road or a county road. And these roads were, I saw drawings, substantial drawings that were developed. The drilling companies were hiring engineering firms and developing drawings, hiring contractors. Beaver Excavating built the project I drove on, 8 miles of road, $3 million. You're going to need somebody here. This is going to hit this county. It's going to hit it hard. And you need somebody here who knows how to negotiate with these drilling companies in order to get I've got all the information, but I'm a good negotiator. I've been in business all my life. And I can we can get this work done. We can get these roads improved before this drilling hits. And that's the way to do it. And you need somebody that's going to be in that office every day who's going to get the job done. And I know how to do it, and I can do it. The other things I'll focus on are the roads and bridges. Besides what the drillers are doing, we got 127 bridges with load limits on them. Bill Shaw has 1 bridge in Hocking County with a load limit on it. 1 bridge. He's got 1.7 mile gravel road. We got 132 miles of gravel road. These bridges are going to have to be fixed. They're going to have to be replaced. We're going to have an aggressive bridge building program. We'll design those bridges, build them in-house, as many as possible, and replace, fix this infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you. Archie, the floor is yours for 2 minutes.
My goals are, as I showed you on the pie charts earlier, to finish the complete rebuild that we've done of the county system. We need to do 14 more bridges in 4 years, and we've been doing 7 a year. So our goal is to have a completely updated bridge system. Some will still will have load limits, but not classified as in need of replacement. My goal is to also, in the next 4 years, to be able to have an all hard surface road system, and we're just 50 miles away from that. We plan to implement a new mapping system that we've already got started on that will be more specific to our needs. I am on the job every day, and I am a full-time engineer. I'm not going to stand up here and make promises to you folks or anybody else of things that I know I can't complete just to get your votes. What I am going to do is I'm going to stand up here and tell you that I am going to be the same responsible, efficient, effective engineer, manager of the highway department as I have been for 32 years. I'm not going to send the county into bankruptcy, and I'm not going to use distractions to try to get away from the very good record that my department has and has had for 32 years. I'm very proud of it. I would like to answer questions about that anytime, anywhere. I'm ready right now. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jeff, you have 30 seconds if you like.
1997, Archie went to the county commissioners, and they appointed him the sanitary engineer for $25,000 a year. Talked to Rich Kassler, talked to Chuck Hammer. He didn't do anything, had nothing to do with sanitary engineering in this county. That was a way to build his retirement. He retired December 31st, 2000. He's been double dipping for 12 years. He had $200,000 a year income all those years, and he barely showed up at the office. That's the truth.
Okay, the next question will be, Archie, you will address it first, and we turn to Fred Kite for that question.
Gentlemen, if you would please give each other a grade, A, B, C, D, F. Mr. Stanley, in terms of Mr. Maiden's proposals, particularly the one about the change in insurance for the employees, and Mr. Maiden in terms of Mr. Stanley's job performance.
I'd like to say, first of all, that I was sanitary engineer. I was asked to do the job by the county commissioners, and I did so. And what we did was completely develop one of the best GIS systems in the state. I don't know where Jeff will make cuts, but it sounds to me like he's already going to make cuts in the employees' benefits with insurance. He mentioned 90%. And so what I would like to say is that my employees are not overpaid. I've been a Democrat all my life. I've been a union supporter all of my life. We negotiate our own contracts, 3-year contracts, and we have for about the last 8 contracts. We don't use consultants. We save the taxpayers thousands of dollars by doing that. So I am very, very pro-labor and have a great relationship with my departments, my department's employees. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jeff, the floor is yours, 2 minutes.
The insurance issue, this chart does not show employees paying even $1 of their premium. We're not talking about them paying a penny. I can save the county $1 million with a 90%, 10% insurance policy, a 90-10 policy with a $200 deductible will save this county $1 million in 4 years. How can you, is that what happens when you've been in government for 30 years? That you want a $0 deductible, 100% paid health insurance policy? I had Jim Rogers from Reed & Bauer review both these policies, and he said there are some benefits in the county plan that are better than Archie's Med Mutual plan. He gave me, I've got a letter, I'm going to post that on the website. You can read it. But these plans are essentially the same. That's $1 million. So you can talk about a personal failure in a tough economy, or you could talk about $1 million. You know, how can you do that? So if it comes to, I got a minute left, so I'm going to talk about roads and bridges because that's where we started. Too many. Yeah, here we go. Well, how would you rank that? How would you rank that? There's 11 counties. There's 11 counties there. Everybody can see it. Where's Athens County rank on bridges with load limits? Be on my website. We're posting all the bridges. 106 of these bridges are 50% or less. They'll take less than half the legal load. I mean, we're talking about real numbers, real facts, available from ODOT. Links on my website. Download the data and look at it. Look at the county roads. I mean, these are surrounding counties. This is real numbers. Links on my website. Go there, download it, see the real facts.
Thank you, Archie. You have 30 seconds if you like.
If he's going to save $1 million, something's going to have to get cut. They won't have as good of insurance as they have now. They deserve good insurance. They work along high-traveled roads with heavy equipment, with heavy materials. They take their life in their own hands every day. So reduced benefits for my employees is what I hear from that. Most recently, we were able to save $36,000 for the next year through the insurance company by simply paying into the system in a different method. And $36,000 is, she says stop.
Now we're back. I got it.
You've had your...
Okay,
minutes,
okay.
So we'll stick to the Ed Baum outline. Okay, for the next question, Jeff, you'll respond to this one first, and we are back to Allison for the question. Allison?
If you could give an example of how you would work with citizens of the county if they came up to you with a personal issue about maybe the roads less traveled, that they don't have as much high traffic, how you would respond to that if they came up to you.
Am I first?
And this is, Jeff is responding to this one first. About
Okay.
1.5 minutes.
Okay. Can you repeat that, please? I didn't quite understand it.
One of the issues that was talked about was how roads that are less traveled on aren't necessarily put in priority. Just like a voter, how would you explain to them that issue?
Okay, my plan, if I'm elected county engineer next year, what I'd like to do is do an inventory of the entire county road system. During this campaign, we went to the athensroads.com website, and when I first announced my candidacy, that website was up, and I could look at annual reports and the conditions of roads, and it's been down for, I don't know, at least 2 months, I think. I can't get on there and I'd see the information. But my first thing would be to develop that inventory and to bring all these roads up to minimum standards, roads that haven't been worked on for 20, 25 years. But we're going to, begin a comprehensive ditching plan, and we're going to start with the ditching, then we're going to work our way through. I think we're going to have to start in the outlying areas, actually, because those are the worst areas. We have many roads that are impassable. They're really in bad shape. And so I think we start there. I think we take some of these savings and increase our Ask Me workers. I'd like to set up a bridge crew. And we got 127 bridges that need rebuilt, and I'd like to set up a bridge crew with some of that money that we save from the equal insurance. The insurance is just as good as the insurance that the county engineers employees have now. And the difference is the countywide system is a consortium of 88 counties and probably 50,000 people, and they buy that insurance $900 per family cheaper. You got 22 families times 12. Just do the math. It doesn't take, if you're buying for 25 people, you're buying for 50,000 people, your rates are better.
Thank you. And Archie, the floor is yours for 2 minutes.
I'm really frustrated that our website's been down too. I've got the computer people working on it, and they haven't got it fixed yet. What I would say to the person that asked me about that is we're in the business of safety. And wherever the most traffic is where the most accidents will be. And so we have to work on the roads where the high traffic and high volume densities are. And because there are kids getting killed every day on all sorts of roads, federal, state, county, and we are in the business of safety, and so that's what we do, and that's how I would justify to her that perhaps her road isn't quite as wide, perhaps, or totally paved like someone else's road. The more I hear Jeff talk about insurance and where he's going to cut costs on the backs of the employees, I hear his businessman mentality. I want to tell you that I am proud that I was one of the first elected officials to stand up and speak publicly against Senate Bill 5. It was a pretty satisfying victory when we put that down, but we're going to have to stay vigilant to be able to make sure that state government doesn't continue to try to balance the state budget on the backs of the working class. So, businessman versus a staunch supporter of defeating of Senate Bill 5. I've been union all of my life. My whole family's been union all of my life. And we have stood up and said so, and I'm very proud of that fact. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff, the floor is yours for 30 seconds, if you like.
I signed a petition to repeal Senate Bill 5. My next door neighbor is Linda Boland, good friend of Archie's. She asked me this past summer. I said, absolutely. I've been a lifelong Democrat, a supporter. I'm a friend of labor. I've met, I believe that that this smear campaign, this reduction, this fear campaign, really to try to scare everybody, well, Jeff's going to take away your benefits. That's a bunch of BS, is what it is. It's just not. These policies I'm put on my website, Jim Rogers reviewed it. These are the same. These insurances are the same. $1 million.
Thank you. And for the next question, Archie, you'll address it first, and we turn back to David DeWitt again for his question.
Thank you, Ellsworth. As I've been having discussions with lots of candidates, they obviously the issue of the economy comes up. These are tough economic times, and one of the ideas that are often brought up is to attract economic development to Athens County is infrastructure improvement. Sometimes people talk about the Athens-Albany sewer proposal, and so my question is, which areas do you see the most room for infrastructure improvement in Athens County as it relates to economic development?
I think you hit the nail right on the head, David. I think at the present time it's the Albany to Athens connector. All of the forecasts are that that will be the next major development area in our county. And so the county commissioners, in being in charge of development, need to take a real close look at the utility capabilities that they'll be able to handle out there. The economy is very bad right now. And, you know, it was boom time back in 2003 when Jeff filed bankruptcy. And so today, with the economy being bad, I don't understand how he's going to be able to run a $4.5 million budget and not bankrupt the county. I guess that's enough.
Jeff, the floor is yours for 2 minutes.
I've spent my entire life in the private sector. I haven't worked in a government where somebody handed me $4 million a year. When I was at Maiden and Jenkins, I had to go out and find $6 million a year, and I usually was responsible for about half that. To go out and find $3 million a year and run a company and build a company from 6 or 8 employees to 75, 80 employees, could never do that. He's given a big budget every year. He double dipped. He was putting $200,000 in the bank a year from 2001 to 2009 until the county commissioners pulled his $25,000 stipend beyond his normal salary because he wasn't going to GIS meetings anymore. He sent him Mike Canterbury. So those are the facts. You know, I've struggled. I've fought my way through the private sector all my life. I have no trouble at all saving this county more than $1 million.
Archie, 30 seconds for you, if you like.
I have paid into my retirement account for over 40 years. That's the way retirement works. People save for their retirement, and they get to take it out whenever they want to take it out. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Mike Canterbury never went to one GIS meeting, not one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. And now we will turn to questions from the audience. Jeff, you will address this one first. And the question is, exactly what are the duties of the county engineer?
Well, the county engineer basically takes care of the roads and the bridges. During the wintertime, we're going to do all the snow and ice removal. And the crew that Archie has right now, I can't say enough about the union workers within Archie's shop. I know some of these guys. I knew them before I began this campaign. They're hard workers. I've done that same work that they've done. I've worked as a construction laborer. I've formed and poured concrete. I know what that. I've worked on an asphalt patching crew at the county when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. And so I know how hard this work is. Nobody can tell me. I've got my hands dirty. And so but the county engineer basically takes care of the roads and bridges, as well as responsible for all the land surveys within the county. And I've read the entire section of the High Revised Code that deals with all the responsibilities, but my mind's a little bit blank at this point. But we've also got to report to ODOT the status of the roads and bridges each year. We're required by law to file an annual report and publish that in the paper. There are a series of things contained within the law. So it's a relatively short section of the Revised Code, but that's basically what the responsibilities are.
Archie, the floor is yours.
The county engineer is responsible for the maintenance, repair, widening, resurfacing, construction, and reconstruction of pavements and bridges in the county highway system. The county engineer is fully responsible for the bridges on both the county and the township systems. He may also be charged with the upkeep of bridges within municipalities, including some that are part of the state highway system. He performs the annual inspection and evaluation of the condition and road carrying capacity of each bridge. The statutes relating this duty require a uniform method of procedure and record keeping, and that is kept track of by the ODOT people with a complete computerized bridge inventory and inspection system that we participate in fully. And in fact, the larger bridges over 20 feet that are federal are required to be inspected every other year. We inspect them every year. And some of the bridges that have been load rated, we inspect monthly. I want very much to continue to be your county engineer, and I want to complete the job of rebuilding our system. I'm very proud of the progress that we've made. I think that my opponent has ran a pretty negative campaign, and I have been answering question after question after question. Most recently, I have had people follow me in my car. I've had people take pictures of my car in my driveway. There are people calling my daughter's house in Canal Winchester at all times of the night. I would call that harassment, saying, "Where is Archie Stanley?" Well, he doesn't live here. I'm sorry, he's not here. It just goes on and on and on. And most recently, I had to answer a question today to the Professional Board of Engineers, who said that one of my employees is masquerading as an engineer. Not true. I got that figured out. But I don't know what's coming next, but I brought in my bag my long form birth certificate, just in case.
I haven't raised all these issues. The reality is, if somebody's following Archie, I don't know who that is. I have nothing to do with that. That's the reality. Or calling his daughter in Fairfield County, or his wife in Fairfield County, or his mother in Fairfield County. I haven't had anything to do with any of that. And as far as, we're just putting a spotlight on the facts. These are all facts. These facts are available from the Ohio Department of Transportation. These facts were available at the county auditor's office. I was looking at budgets and I saw some real irregularities, and that's how it all came about. We're not, it's facts.
Thank you both. We'll go to the next question, and Archie, you'll address it first. And this one is complex enough in terms of words put together. I'm going to read it twice. So, and if Jeff wants to hear it again when it's his turn,
Oh boy.
I'll wait till we reassemble over there. Okay. What is yours? I better wait until you're reassembled. So
There we go. Put that down here like that. I don't know. It's all right. It's all right like that.
Okay. Here we go. What is your assessment of the 2 new fracking waste injection wells permit applications pending in Athens County, posted on the ODNR's county engineers list? So there are a lot of words in there. Let me read it again. What is your assessment of the 2 new fracking waste injection wells permit applications which are pending in Athens County and posted on the ODNR's county engineers list.
And that's me, correct?
Oh, pardon me, and I thought I said Archie, you were first.
Okay,
I'm
sorry. No,
we got into such a long reading, you
I
forgot.
should have kept.
If you
I
want
should
to
have
hear
kept
that-
track.
If you want to hear that again, I'll read it again.
No.
Clarification was my question. I'd be glad to.
I would like to make it very clear that I am not pro-fracking or anti-fracking. I am proactive about protecting the county's investment in our county roads and bridges. There have been injection wells in Athens County since the vertical fracking that took place in the 1980s. We have a lot of experience with these type of operations, and so we're a leg up on that already. I don't know of any incidents that have taken place because of the brine water that is injected into those wells. What I will tell you is that brine water is not going to be used on county roads, ever. And I will also tell you that in 32 years, we have never sprayed the roadsides with herbicides. We never will during my tenure. A lot of people say it's cheaper than mowing, but I don't put stuff in that's going to eat up the environment. I would like to add one thing since I have a little bit of time left. No, I don't live in Canal Winchester. My wife and I, of 45 years, Judy, who works out the city school system, central office, live on Peach Ridge Road, right here in Athens. We own a home in Canal Winchester, and my daughter and her family, my mother, live there. My wife works here in Athens just like I do. What it is I take care of my family. And my family had a few personal problems, and I paid for the house that they live in.
Okay, Jeff?
My position on fracking is really identical. My position on fracking is that my job as a county engineer is to look out for the citizens of Athens County, to get these roads and bridges rebuilt principally by by your drilling companies prior to these operations beginning. I mean, this really has to happen because these roads will not be passable while this drilling activity is going on. We've been dealing with the EPA, ODNR, and the Corps of Engineers. I've been dealing with them for 20 years. We've got active projects right now in our office dealing with all three of those agencies. So we know the ropes with the environmental people. And so if we see something that's environmentally not correct, we're going to act on that. We're going to notify people. But it's not my job to do their job. My job will be to do the county engineer's job. Thank you.
Hey, Archie, 30 seconds if you like.
I've been your full-time county engineer for 32 years. I love doing the job. I would like to continue to do the job and finish the goals that I have showed you tonight. I would appreciate your vote on March 6th, and I yield the rest of my time until the next question.
Pardon me, madam, someone asked the question, and so, fine, and so I have your question, and I'm sorry that our custom is, you have given me the input here, and I pass it along to them for their address. Sorry about that. Now, this next question follows on, the same context and the same person, so we're talking about those injection well permit applications. And let's see, Jeff, you're addressing this one first, right? What do you see as your role in protecting public health and safety with their permitting and construction? That is, with these permits we've been talking about. Your role in protecting public health and safety with respect to what we've just been discussing.
It's my understanding that injection wells are regulated by ODNR, and that EPA does get involved in that. We're really going to have a full-time job here, taking care of the roads and bridges and looking after that aspect of it. If we are aware of a situation where there's a pollution issue or something like that, then we'll notify the proper people. We know these people now. We deal with them on a daily basis. So I would yield to my opponent the rest of my time.
Our focus is on roads and bridges, period. We can notify other agencies who have the proper authority. In the county, the only agencies that I know of that would have authority for injection wells would be the county commissioners, but I think they would have to defer to the state also. Injection wells have a bit of a problem, in my experience, in keeping their driveways stoned properly, and they track mud out onto the roads. And so we're going to be especially cognizant of that. And they're going to have to follow the same rules as all the other fracking rigs and all the other mining and logging rigs. We're going to customize to meet the needs for Athens County on our agreement based upon how many vehicles they're going to have on the road, how heavy they are, how wide, how long, the condition of the road to start with. We are going to emphasize rebuilding the road to be able to meet those demands before they even start. And then if they damage a bridge or if they damage a road, they're going to have to fix it at the end. We have a bond system to be able to regulate that in the full support of the county sheriff and the state highway patrol. If we have to bring in scales to weigh them, we will. If they break through one of our bridges, we'll weigh them as soon as we get them out of the creek. Thank you.
Jeff, 30 seconds if you choose.
We haven't really gotten into what's involved in enforcing the agreements, but I will have an amendment with every company that comes into Athens County to drill, and that amendment will be similar. I'll use the same document that Jim Brannigan uses in Jefferson County, and that agreement details haul roads. It details, and I actually have a copy of that amendment with me tonight. I thought I had it right here, but it's over there. And it details, and he's actually purchased a set of scales, and he's actually enforced it that way. We'll look at doing that too.
Thank you. Let me note that we've been going for just about 1 hour, and we have time for 10 more minutes. And so that sounds like we'll save 4 minutes for the closing statements. And you always have to watch that, I don't forget that. So we've got time for 1 or perhaps 2 more questions. So Archie, you will address this one first. This one was written in 2 forms. They're just slightly different ways of saying the same thing. So I'll just read them both and you can take it away. How do you feel you have conducted your campaign? Are you proud of the way you have conducted your campaign? So Archie, you're first.
In 32 years, I've tried my best to remain positive about everything. I've run a positive campaign. I've tried to answer everybody's question. I have had distractions to sway voters against me. And apparently, negative campaigns work. Because one of the news media organizations this morning endorsed my opponent. And as near as I can read their endorsement, it was based strictly on letters to the editor from members of Jeff's family and his supporters, and many of which are former employees of mine that didn't work out and had to leave. I have conducted my campaign very positively, and I've dwelt on the facts. I have had distractions leveled against me, and I believe that my opponent has run a very negative campaign against me. Thank you.
Jeff, the floor is yours.
This campaign began the day after Thanksgiving when Archie canceled $85,000 worth of contract work I was working on. I didn't make an issue of that. I didn't go to the press. The press called me a week later. They asked me questions. I referred them to ODOT websites to prove that the reason for him canceling those contracts weren't valid. When they were ready to publish a headline story on Sunday, Archie restarted those contracts the Saturday before. This negative stuff started with Archie. I didn't start it. I don't really think that we've run a negative campaign at all. All I've done is point to the facts when the press calls me and asks me about these crazy things. The press went to the auditor's office. They got those overtime records. This stuff is is it negative to show the public the facts? That's the question. Archie sat up here and vilifies me tonight because I went through a bankruptcy. Archie could never live in the world I live in. in the private sector. He's never been there. He has never worked in the private sector. He's been a long-term public employee. They'll take your money and spend $1 million more for an insurance policy that's effectively the same because he's concerned about paying $100 a month on his insurance. So you got to decide who is the best person to take care of these roads and these bridges. Who's going to run this operation and get the work done, like Bill Shaw in Hocking County, who only has one bridge with a load limit reduction on it. Only has 1.7 miles of gravel road. What an impeccable job that man has done. You can't sit here and look at these facts and go to my website. You look at the facts. Go to the ODOT website. Get the facts. And that's all I got to say.
Archie, you have 30 seconds if you like.
During the time that Jeff's talking about, my daughter was having a baby, and I was pretty preoccupied. He must be pretty vain to think that I check around to see whether or not he's going to run against me. I don't make decisions based upon whether somebody's going to run against me or not. We have something called Credit Bridge that ran out without my knowledge. There had been some commitments already made to the 3 bridges that Jeff was designing. Jeff, I will ask you, why, when you knew that the credit bridge was still there, didn't you email me back immediately and let me know rather than waiting a week and then having the Athens Messenger let me know? Sorry.
Okay, we have time for one more question in the closing statements. Jeff, you'll address this one first. What impact do you see in the county with respect to gas and oil extraction?
What I saw in Jefferson County, and it's really just getting started up there, I saw 3 pads, and they're rather large pads. It looked like they had inspectors on site. There was security there. I saw a multitude of water tanks that could hold up to 5 million gallons of water. I saw erosion control fencing in place. I saw the best county roads I've ever seen. Some of those roads had 16 inches of base. They had a machine where they came in and they tilled it up and they rolled it in and they used cement and water and they did essentially something like roller compacted concrete, and they built a wide road, 22 feet wide, which is good for roads that were 14 to 16. And the impact was tremendous when it was managed properly. I don't know long term where it's going to go, but I think that it has, with the state of our county roads and our county bridges, you're looking at a tremendous rebuilding project. If they find oil, and I think that's what they're after, I think that the money involved will drive itself. It's going to be here, and so I think what you got to do is get in front of it, and it's an opportunity to rebuild all the county roads and bridges in a 10-year period of time where we have impeccable roads, impeccable bridges. And we can do that both with the $1 million I'm going to save on just purchasing an equivalent insurance policy, and so just better management is going to do it, and that's all I have.
Archie?
Could you please repeat the question?
Yes, indeed. What impact do you see in the county with respect to gas and oil extraction?
I have a lot of experience from the 80s with this type of activity. What I see is our roads in better shape when they leave than when they got here. If they have to build them up before and or fix them after, that's what I'm after.
Okay, you have 30 seconds if you should choose to reply.
I'm a good businessman. I'm a good negotiator. I'm on top of my work. I work 50 hours a week. I don't know what a public employee work week is like. I don't know how hard Archie works, but I know I've worked that way all my life. And the reality is, the shale drilling is going to happen here in Athens County. I don't think unless there is unless the oil or the gas is not here, then it may not. But I think you got to be proactive. I can do that. I'll be on the job. I'll be present every day, and that's all I got.
Okay, we've reached the end of the questions. I've got a few more. We don't have time. If we don't get out of here on time, the library will not invite us back for our future candidates nights, and so I have to say that's a very high priority with us so that we can come back next week. And we've arrived at our closing statements, and Archie, you will go first by the casting of lots at the beginning, and then Jeff. So that's to give you time to sort that out. And so, Archie Stanley, your closing statement, 2 minutes.
Thank you for hosting this event and allowing the candidates an opportunity to speak. I'm very proud of the fact that we've completely rebuilt the Athens County highway and bridge system over the past 32 years. I am proud of the fact that for 32 years I've been fiscally responsible, operating my budget always in the black, always prepared. I am proud of the fact that we built a new state-of-the-art engineer facility. We built it in the rural geographic center of the county where development can't squeeze it around again like it did on busy East State Street. We built the site with only funds that were received from the sale of the old site and didn't use any road or bridge money for that. Now, there are 5 new businesses there placing tax dollars into the tax rolls and several employees working there. I'm very proud to be one of the first officials to speak out against Senate Bill 5. I didn't just sign a petition. I didn't just vote for it. I worked for it all the time. I am eager to see through and manage a fully hard surface county road system and a completely updated bridge system. I'm running for county engineer because I like my job. I will continue to be accountable and fiscally responsible. I'm not a person who's going to promise things that I can't deliver just to get your vote. I've never done that and I never will. I sit before you today and once again pledge to serve your tax dollars with continued fiscal responsibility and complete financial stability. I am running on my reputation. I'm always able to detail the excellent work that my department performs every day. My leadership strong suits are proven labor harmony and 32 years of total fiscal responsibility. My campaign is about facts, reputation, and fiscal responsibility. The voters will determine this election and the future of the County Engineers Department. They have a choice. They have to decide who to vote for. 32 years of financial stability and fiscal responsibility versus Chapter 7 business bankruptcy and civil court cases. I hope you'll continue your support for me as your county engineer. I ask for your support on March 6th and the opportunity to serve you again. Thank you.
Jeff Maiden, yours for 2 minutes closing statement.
Good cash flow can cover up bad management for a while, but Athens County's come to a point that my opponent cannot explain why the poor quality of the county roads and the bridges and the obvious waste of taxpayer dollars. We have 127 bridges that are structurally deficient in this county. Nearly 40% of all bridges in Athens County. It's unacceptable. 132 miles of gravel roads, unacceptable. Look at surrounding counties like Vinton County, 0 miles. Hocking County, 1.7 miles. Meigs County, 3.4 miles. They all have smaller budgets than Athens County. My opponent will waste more than $1 million in the next 4 years that could easily have been avoided by joining the multi-county health insurance plan that the deputy sheriffs, the 911, all the county employees are on now. It's an excellent policy. It's better in health insurance than I've ever had in my life. But it's not good enough for Archie and Mike. He has 7 managers and 16 ASME highway workers. Does that make sense to anybody in this room? He has an office manager and a payroll clerk that made more in 2011 than the Athens County commissioners, and almost twice as much as similar jobs in other county offices. The deputy engineer and his wife sign off on their own overtime, and they have more than $32,000 in overtime in 2011. Bad management. Poor quality of work. I showed you a landslide that was fixed, and 30 days later, it failed. You got to fix it again. That's county dollars this time, not FEMA. The engineers department needs new leadership from someone who will work hard for the citizens of Athens County, someone who appreciates the tax dollars that my opponent takes for granted. We need a new engineer that will provide the leadership necessary to rebuild our county road system. I'd appreciate your vote on March 6th, and be sure to ask for a Democratic ballot if you're an independent or a Republican. Thank you.
Thank you both very much. And in concluding this, I want to thank you 2 candidates for being so courteous to each other, having firm opinions and strong statements, and you're courteous. And I want to thank all of you in the audience for being so courteous. I can't help thinking that something like this could make a showcase around the world. What can political campaigns be like? And you'd have trouble going any place in the world to find a better example of what can be and should be. So thanks everybody for coming.